Okay, time for a new video, and whether you are somebody new to my channel or you are returning to my channel to watch this video, it is greatly appreciated. As always, I'm filming this video in one go, so if I stumble over my words moving forwards, apologies about that, and also apologies if the quality of this video is fairly poor as well. If there's any lag, anything like that at all, sadly it can't be helped, and hopefully it's not too much of an issue for you. This is yet another Eurovision 2024 related video here on my channel, and it's time for me to sit down and record a video that I have had planned for several weeks now regarding the dark horses of this year's upcoming edition of the ESC, which will take place in just a few weeks' time now, for a third time in the city of Malmö in Sweden. As always, you are welcome to let me know your thoughts on anything I discuss in today's video by leaving a comment down below, and as always there are links in the description to my other social media pages, check them out if you so wish. Just before I get into the main point of today's video, I want to take this opportunity to say a big thank you to all of the new subscribers recently. Anybody who's liked a video, shared a video, left a comment, whether that's on a video or on my community tab, or anybody who's reached out on other social media platforms, I am very, very grateful and I really do appreciate it. I should say as well that I have a few more videos planned for the next couple of weeks, one of which will be the 10 great national final songs of the season video. That usually takes quite a bit of time to organise because I have to go through all of the national final songs that we've had over the past few months, but rest assured that video will surface at some point. I may be filming a video straight after this one you're watching now regarding the betting odds as they currently stand for Eurovision 2024, and of course, something of an annual tradition on my channel, I will be filming a Why Blank Should Win Eurovision 2024 video, and I can tell you that will be surfacing very soon, the first part of it, because this year I'll be talking about 3 countries, because I just can't pick one. It's as simple as that. So the first instalment in that little series will be surfacing very soon. But let's focus on the dark horses. Are there many this year? It's such an open field. Would it really be a surprise if somebody who we're not necessarily expecting to win at this moment in time does end up coming out on top in May? I don't know. I'm interested to know your thoughts on this, absolutely. It says here on Google that a dark horse is a candidate or competitor about whom little is known, but who unexpectedly wins or succeeds. Well, with regards to Eurovision, I'm not sure about the little is known part, because we do know these songs, we do know the artists, we don't necessarily know what they're going to bring to the table in terms of staging in May, but we are familiar with the tracks, absolutely. But, obviously, every year there are those tracks that we think might do well, and they could be classified as a dark horse. So on my little post-it note here, let me just do this, I have written down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 countries. 7 dark horses this year. Now, of course, you could make a claim for anybody, and I wouldn't blame you if you did. I have written down Latvia. I'll get them out of the way now. Latvia is a country I'm not really going to be talking about in today's video, but I was thinking about it. Hollow's a great song. Dons has a great voice. The song isn't too bad. You could say it's Latvia's strongest effort for many a year. But there are other countries that I think might be stronger dark horses, shall we say. But definitely, you could say Latvia's a dark horse to do quite well. Not win the contest, heavens above, but maybe qualify and get Latvia their best result for many a year. Anyway, let's go through this one by one, beginning with the semi-final 1 dark horses. I was just going through the list of competitors earlier on, and I was just thinking about each song, and I was eliminating the major favourites, so I'm not talking about Italy or Croatia here, because they are serious, obvious challengers for victory. I'm looking at the songs that might do better than we're expecting, because there's always a few, and there's always a few countries that end up doing worse than we expect. Hello, Spain and Austria last year. So, the first country I'm mentioning is Song 2 in this year's upcoming first semi-final on Tuesday the 7th of May. It's Serbia. I think Serbia is a pretty big dark horse. This could do really, really well. I've been watching a few simulations on YouTube recently because they always surface at this time of year, and I'm sitting here shaking my head thinking how unrealistic they are, but some of them might well be bang on the money or close to it. And in a lot of the simulations I've been watching this time around, Serbia has fared generally very well. And I haven't really taken a look at the betting odds just yet, but I believe Serbia is considered a qualifier from semi-final one. A lot of people are really, really liking this song. It's a ballad. It's a beautiful ballad. The performance rather, at the national final in Serbia several weeks ago was pretty good. I think Teodora commands the stage. She's owning the performance. She doesn't really need anything else around her. It's going to be interesting to see how this is staged at Eurovision, coming after the big pop banger that is Cyprus, and then another sort of pop throbbing beat melody of Lithuania. So, yeah, I think Serbia is very much a dark horse. I really do. Because a lot of people love it, but I've not seen many people say, yeah, Serbia could really challenge for the win, you know. The jurors might really appreciate it, but of course Serbia have to qualify first, and then they could get a great dollop of jury love in the final. I think the public support will be there, maybe not in huge numbers at first, but again, thinking ahead to the Saturday final, certainly a lot of neighbouring countries are going to dish out points, and I think Teodora will get some love from countries all over Europe as well, here and there. Maybe 5 points here, 6 points there, they all add up. They really do. I said this in a previous video. Right now, I think Serbia, you've got to be looking at maybe an upper mid-table finish in the final. Some people think Serbia won't qualify. You look at the first half of that first semi-final, you know, the first 7 songs. Cyprus may go through. Lithuania's a yes. Ireland, we'll talk about them in a moment. Ukraine, yes. Poland, I'm not too sure about Poland at the moment, I'll be honest with you, but right now I'm still saying yes. And Croatia are definitely going through. So will Serbia, this somewhat straightforward ballad, early on in the running order, progress? I think so. This is a dark horse. If anything, I will like it more after this year's contest. It's a really beautiful song. It does pack a punch. I just don't know if once we've had loads of performances afterwards, if this is really going to leave much of an impression on neutral viewers. You've got to appeal to neutral viewers. But yes, I'm rambling big time, but I think Serbia is a dark horse to do quite well this year. Maybe better than we're expecting? I don't know. What about Ireland then? Who I just touched upon. Bambi Thug with Doomsday Blue. This scary, witchy, gothic, aggressive, and yet at other times quite agreeable and pleasant track. It really is a game of two halves, this song. It's not entirely sure what it wants to be. It might be very jarring for the neutral viewer. Some people will be appalled by this. The look of this performer, their voice, the whole aesthetic and style of the performance that we may get next month. Some people will be horrified by it, and others will revel in it. They will absolutely love it for what it is. The Irish song is growing on me, but only at a snail's pace. I am waiting for the performance next month, which could really change things for me. I think Bambi is a good performer. The national final performance in Ireland wasn't quite up to scratch, but that was nothing to do with Bambi Thug themselves. That was more to do with the production by RTE at the Late Late Show, I guess. On that Eurovision stage, I think it's really going to be elevated a great deal, and this may blow people away. If Ireland make the final, that's a success in itself. How well this song would do in the final, I really don't know. If the alternative crowd, for want of a better phrase, are watching, they may really gravitate towards this, but is that going to be enough to see Ireland get a good result in the final? I don't think so. How will the juries, professional music people, how will they view this Irish track? Because some of them will be appalled by it, and others will appreciate what it's trying to achieve. And if you ask me, if you are a music professional, if you hear a song and you know it's not your thing, you may still end up really appreciating a lot about the vocals, the style, everything. You might appreciate lots of things, even if it's not really your cup of tea. Long story short, the Irish song I think is growing on people, especially after some of the pre-party performances. Bambi Thug was there in London recently, and a lot of people were saying that they were one of the best on stage that evening. I have seen a bit of that performance. In fact, if I can find it. Bambi Thug is in one of the national newspapers today. Let me just make sure I'm holding this up correctly. You're not really going to be able to see it. But there is Bambi Thug, looking as though they've just stepped off the set of a horror film, it must be said. And then there's a picture of Bambi Thug in what this newspaper has called a condom wrapper. So make of that what you will. I may as well read this out while I'm here. There's just a month to go until the madness that is Eurovision hits our screens, and we've just had our first glimpse at how bonkers this year's contest will be. I should say there is absolutely no mention of Ollie Alexander here. None whatsoever. On Sunday evening, 23 of the contenders performed at the London Eurovision party, where the front-runner, Croatian rock star Baby Lasagna, revealed he has been bombarded with nude snaps since his viral song Rim Tim Taggy Dim came out, blah blah blah. Oh, here we go, UK entry Ollie Alexander performed. That's the only mention. As did Finland duo Windows 95 Man, one of the most wonderfully wacky acts in the contest's history, thanks to their song No Rules. Ireland haven't qualified for the final for 6 years, but there are high hopes this time around with quirky singer Bambi Thug, who dressed as a condom wrapper, yeah, I suppose it is, I don't know, and handed out free contraceptives before the show. More seriously, they added, before Christmas I wanted to go home and nurture some Irish support, and now they love me in my country, which is crazy because they didn't know who I was. So there you go, I thought I'd read that out. But yes, Bambi Thug getting their face in a national newspaper today. And just for the record, here in the UK, most of the attention, I would say, has been on, I don't know, Marcus and Martinez have appeared on television quite a bit recently, and I suppose Israel, to some extent. Not so much Ollie Alexander. But anyway, getting back on track, after that complete left turn, Ireland's a dark horse. It's very, very difficult to predict how well or how badly this song is going to fare. Right now, it's very much a borderline qualifier for me, but I am thinking maybe there is a place for this in the final, absolutely. I know a lot of people really love it, but will neutral viewers hearing it for the first time really feel compelled to vote for Doomsday Blue? I don't know. Ireland's a dark horse, perhaps the biggest one of the year. What about Portugal? Also in semi-final one, Grito by Iolanda. This is just a lovely song, very similar to Serbia in the sense that it's a ballad. It's fairly simple in terms of its execution. I imagine the staging will be fairly similar at Eurovision to how it was at FDC, with Iolanda in white and dancers in white, and the emphasis very much on the vocals. I do feel as though this song definitely takes a little while to really get cooking, if you see what I mean, but then certainly the final 40 seconds or so, I think, are really powerful, really effective. There's nothing superfluous to the performance at all. It really is all about Iolanda and her amazing voice. And Portugal, they've not done too badly for themselves over the past few years. I'm thinking of Saudade Saudade by Maro in Turin a couple of years ago. That was expected to do fairly well, but a top 10 finish, I don't remember a lot of people predicting that. So you have to say that was a massively successful result. Maybe the same thing could happen again with Portugal this year. Is Iolanda going to qualify? I think so. I'd be very disappointed if not. And then in the final, with jury support, this might do really, really well. Maybe a top half finish, absolutely. I don't know. I don't know. I think Portugal's flying under the radar a bit. Nowhere in the betting odds, I believe. But it's a dark horse, no doubt about it. As are Electric Fields for Australia, also in semi-final one. This is 1 Mil Cali 1 Blood. When this song was released, I think the general feeling amongst Eurovision fans was that this was a bit disappointing. I think people were hoping for something similar to what they had in the Australian national selection a few years ago, 2000 and whatever, and instead we have this, which feels very watered down. However, we know Electric Fields are pretty good live, and I absolutely believe that this song could come alive live on stage in Malmö next month. I imagine it's going to be quite colourful, quite energetic, very happy, And people will gravitate towards this, absolutely. It's bringing a different sound, a different flavour to this year's competition. And Australia have done all right for themselves in the semi-finals before. Voyager did well last year. Kate Miller-Heidke did well a couple of years ago. But then in the final, maybe the score that Australia ends up with, especially from the public, is somewhat underwhelming. The same thing could happen this year, but you never know. Australia might do better than we're all expecting. This could cruise through. This might challenge for the top 10 in the final. Who knows? Australia's a dark horse. Moving on to semi-final 2, and there are 3 more countries to mention here, and I'm beginning with Denmark, which is song 7 in semi-final 2 on Thursday the 9th of May. So 1 month today, Saba will be taking to the stage in Malmö performing Sand. She's been at a few pre-parties. I have seen her performances. They've been alright. It's quite static. I'm not a huge fan of that, but it is what it is. Vocally, she's pretty strong every time. And this is a fairly accessible track. Again, I know I'm repeating myself here, but I'm thinking about neutral viewers. Sometimes all they want is a song that's playing it safe. Something that they can just sit back and relax and listen to and then enjoy for what it is. You know, Ireland's song, very divisive. The Portuguese song might bore a lot of people into a coma. The Danish track, you know, a lot of people might listen to it and think, oh, that's alright, that's not bad. And a couple of points here, couple of points there, and before you know it, Denmark has creeped into a qualification spot. In 2019, I've mentioned this previously, in 2019, Leonora was there in Tel Aviv. The last time Denmark qualified for a final, can you believe it? And it was a bit touch and go whether she would make the cut. She only just qualified. And then in the final, she wasn't that far away from finishing in the top 10. Because people were charmed by her song and her performance. And obviously with more countries voting in the final as well, she was getting a little bit more love here and there. And the points all add up. They really do. If you got 12 here, 12 there, and 12 there, 3 countries, before you know it, you know, you're quite a way away perhaps from the bottom 5 or something like that. And that's only with a few countries dishing out some love your way. The same thing could happen with Denmark this year. And if we go even further back in time, I remember Latvia in 2005, Voltage and Kasia with The War Is Not Over. That song only just qualified, and it was leading the voting in the final for a good while. It was right up there, which just goes to show that you can perhaps only just scrape through from the semi-finals, but then really, really excel in the final. Now, I'm not saying Denmark will challenge for the win this year, I'm not saying that at all, but if this makes the final, maybe Denmark will do better than we're currently expecting. There's not really much to fault with this song. Okay, the performance may be a bit dull, but everything else is sort of alright. Will people award an alright performance? Will people award an alright song? Maybe they will. People hearing this for the first time, maybe they will. Watch out for Denmark. Then we have another huge dark horse, maybe along with Ireland, the biggest of the year. It's Armenia, song 8 in semi-final 2, Lada Niva with Yako. I think this is coming up on the rails big time. They've been at one of the pre-parties, maybe 2 of the pre-parties already. This is a buoyant, energetic, very happy-go-lucky sort of song. It's in the Armenian language. There's energy and vibrancy. It's just a good time. It puts a smile on people's faces. And in a way, this is sort of what Eurovision is all about. Having a good time, showing off something traditional and unique and fresh. Loads of people watching Eurovision this year. They don't listen to this sort of music in their own time, perhaps. Oh yes, instead of, I don't know, a bit of Ed Sheeran, today I might listen to some traditional Armenian music. Yes, whack it on Spotify, lads. Yeah, I'm not sure that's the case. So hearing this, you know, people tune into Eurovision to sort of hear this stuff, I would say, sometimes. And they'll be duly rewarded with this one, because of all of the reasons I've just given. Fun, happy, energetic. lively. I think the crowd will really be pumped for this one as well when Eurovision gets going. I think Armenia are going through, and who knows in the final, with even more support perhaps coming their way from the juries, maybe it's not unrealistic to say that this Armenian track could really challenge for a top half, top 10, even higher than that finish. Who knows? I think Armenia are definitely gaining more support as the days go by. The last country to mention is Georgia, song 11. Georgia haven't been in the final for since 2016, but this year they've got a really good chance of making the cut. It's Nutsa Buzaladze with Firefighter. Now, I wasn't even going to mention Georgia when I planned this video recently, but she was there in London at the pre-party, and I've seen her performance, and she was really going for it, and I think she did a smashing job. And now, I think more people are on board with this Georgian track. I, for one, still can't remember for the life of me the melody of the verses at all. I can remember the chorus, I can't really remember much else. I do think there is still this disjointed thing to this song that I can't quite get my head around. But it seems to me as though more and more people are really enjoying this Georgian number, as they are with Armenia, as they are with Ireland at the moment. And momentum is key as you enter the week of Eurovision next month. The songs that are getting the most momentum, they're the ones to really keep an eye out for. And if the momentum continues to build for Georgia and Nutsa and Firefighter this year, watch out the rest of Europe, because this could do really well. I think there's going to be choreography. I think it's going to be pretty slick. You know there's going to be flames around the stage and everything. And if this is delivered in a very professional, slick, intriguing, wonderful manner, Georgia won't only qualify, but they might do very well in the final. They're a bit of a dark horse. And I think even if you're not a huge fan of the song, it would still be nice to have Georgia back in the final. I think so. So, there we have it. What a very messy video from me again. But they are the 7 dark horses for this year's contest. Serbia, definitely a very popular track. Nobody's really saying that it's a contender for the win, but maybe in the final, if Serbia get there, which I would say is likely at this moment in time, with added jury support, maybe Serbia will do very well. Not that we should really be taking online simulations as gospel, but in a lot of online simulations, Serbia are doing very well. Ireland. Pre-party performances have gone down a storm. Bambi Thug is an engaging performer. More and more people are getting on board with this. The only qualm is how will first-time listeners react to this one? Will they love it, or will they think, oh my goodness me, I'm hiding behind the couch? Then you have Portugal. Beautiful ballad, beautiful singer. The question here is, will more people be bored by it than really enthralled by it? Nevertheless, I think it's a big dark horse. Australia. Sort of, not really on anybody's radar at the moment, but that live performance could be quite something in Malmö, so it's worth keeping an eye out for the Australians this year. Denmark. Again, flying under the radar a bit, but as I said earlier, there's not really too much to fault with this song, or indeed the performances that she's been giving. So maybe we should be paying a bit more attention to Denmark this year? I don't know. Of course, this could completely flop and not even come anywhere close to qualifying. Who knows? Armenia. This is just a lot of fun. Neutral viewers may be really on board with this one. The song whips the crowd up into a frenzy. That will be the case next month, I'm sure. Watch out everybody else, because Armenia are meaning business this year. And then Georgia, very impressive at the pre-party in London recently. If she keeps performing well, more and more people will get on board with this. More and more people will be saying Georgia's a safe qualifier, and maybe more and more people will be saying in the final, if Georgia get there, that this could do very well indeed. Will the juries really appreciate her smashing voice? Perhaps. Will the public, hearing this song for the first time in the final, if Georgia get there, will they be thinking, wow, this is really quite something, I'm enjoying this for what it is? Points. Who knows? We wait and see. There are other countries I could have spoken about. I mentioned Latvia at the start. I could have mentioned maybe Spain. I could have mentioned Slovenia. I could have mentioned one or two others, absolutely, Azerbaijan. But that's the 7 I'm sticking with for now. Let me know your thoughts. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Whatever it is, I'm interested to know. That's it for, excuse me, dear me, that's it for the Dark Horses video regarding Eurovision 2024. I'm now probably going to film another video regarding the betting odds. Until next time, take care of yourselves, stay safe, and bye for now. Thanks for watching.